I do need to do that. Hmm. Oh, okay, I think I figured it out. Oh, to get that out of here. Get. There you go. I did it. I did it. I'm smart. Let me know what the quality is like. Wonderfully streaming. I'm streaming on YouTube. I just left the parkour thing. Yeah, come back.
The quality's actually good though.
Yeah, I kind of figured out that the quality was low because I had it set to low.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I kind of figured that out. So I had to fix that because most of my videos are kind of grainy. I don't know if I'm going to delete them, if I'm going to keep them. I'm not really sure.
I see.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. It happens. What about the talking? That's what I'm worried about.
I can hear you pretty clearly on that.
What about yourself?
I can't really hear myself.
What? Why?
Oh, no, yeah, I can. Never mind, I can.
No, I had that. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you earlier is, you know how I was subbing for, 6th grade class?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna love this. I subbed for them, you know, and I had to, like, keep tabs on them, because they would get their Chromebooks out. But you know how kids are. They're pretty crafty. They don't want to do their schoolwork. And I caught quite a few of them, like, watching, like, anime music videos or playing games they weren't supposed to. Just stuff like that, you know? And, there were also, like, those, you know, they're also in that tattletale phase where, like, oh, you're doing something bad. I'm gonna tell the teacher. So they're also in that kind of phase, too. And, basically, I think it was around, like, after lunchtime. Yeah, it was after lunchtime. I took the 6th graders up to art, and, because I guess it was, like, their art day or something. But I took them up to art, and then after art, some students went to basketball, some went to band. And then, like, 2 boys went back with me to the classroom, because they didn't really want to do basketball or band. And they were sitting there in the back, you know, doing their schoolwork and whatnot. But they were reading comics while one kid was drawing, and this kid was like talking about Minecraft mobs. Okay, he's talking about Minecraft mobs, and he like asked his friends, he's like, "Which do you think would win?" And I don't remember what he said. I think he like said a skeleton, or oh gosh, it was a skeleton and something. I think it was like, oh, a skeleton and a hoglin. That's what he said. He's like, "Do you think a skeleton or a hoglin would win?" You know, obviously the fucking Hoglin would win. I don't know. I don't know, actually. I would have to look at that. I would actually have to pitch them together. You know what? That's something I could do. I could make like a little arena, spawn a skeleton in there, and spawn a Hoglin in there, have them battle it out.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. I'm gonna do that. I'm doing that. It's happening. I'll do it tomorrow. We're gonna make a creative mode world, and then we're gonna like oh God, what's the word? Initiate. We're gonna initiate combat between a hoglin and a skeleton, and then I can tell those kids which one wins. So basically, oh what? Oh ooh ah! So basically, he's asking his friend, and his friend goes, "Oh I don't know," and he's all like, "Well, you've got to know," and he looks at me. And he asks me, and I'm like, honestly, from my perspective, neither. And he's like, what do you mean? I don't know why. I don't know why I said this. I don't know why I said neither. I have no clue, because it had nothing to do with the whole subject. But I go, I think the warden would win. And the kid's like, but the warden's not in here. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why? I'm a teacher. But then, like, it clicks, okay? It took this kid 3 minutes to get the gears grinding. He slams his hands on the desk. This kid is flabbergasted. The whole new world just opened up for him, okay? A whole new world. This old lady teacher, who's, well, 24, but still. This teacher, who is an adult, knows what Minecraft is, and he's just now realizing this. Like, it's touching his brain. He understands. And he goes, wait a minute! I'm like, oh, I just go wide-eyed. I did not expect this kid to stand up so fast and be so, like, blown away that a 24-year-old teacher knows what Minecraft is. And he goes, you play Minecraft! I'm like, and he's like pointing at me. He's pointing at me. And I'm like, yes, I do, yes. And he goes, he instantly grabs his stuff. Both these kids, the other kid is also like, his jaw is just dropped to the floor, okay? His mouth's open. He's catching flies. and so both kids just abandon where they've been sitting, which is from the other side of the room from me. We're like across the room from each other. And this is a relatively decent sized classroom. And they just flock, like they zoom from where this desk, but I don't think the teacher sits at her desk. I think she was like, nah, screw you. I like the table more. It's where the cool kids sit. And oh, I did it. I finally did it. And so basically they come flocking over to me and they just start asking me all kinds of questions about Minecraft. And then when like we start talking about the ancient city and I tell them about how I found the ancient city, and oh, I fell. And they're like, oh, "Did you really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they talked to me about that the YouTuber that you know had the unfortunate passing, and I got a little uncomfortable with that conversation because it's a pretty touchy subject. I feel like, eat. And so basically, all of a sudden, he's like, he names off one of the other students, and he says, "Oh, he's gonna like this, but he's not here. He's at basketball practice." All of a sudden, like I think 10 minutes later, after he says that, all the students come back, and as soon as they're coming in the door, he jumps up from his seat right in front of me. I hear it, like the whole, like the seat just goes clattering onto the floor. Like, his kid's up. He's freaking, he's ready. He's ready. And he goes, "Shay plays Minecraft" to every student that comes in. And I'm just like looking away. I'm looking away. I don't exist. I'm not here. I'm disappearing. I'm like, I'm trying so hard not to laugh. Trying really hard like to laugh. Like if I was an animated character right now, my eyes would be having like little water tears in the corners, and I'd be like holding my mouth shut, pressing my lips together, holding my mouth shut, just trying so hard not to laugh. That's how I felt. That is literally how I felt. So many times that day, that is how I felt. But then, as soon as all the kids are like, "What? Really?" They're like, or some of them were like, "Oh, that's interesting," but that's the kids that didn't really care much about it. And then the one kid, the kid that they were talking about, that they said would lose his absolute mind finding out that I play Minecraft. Yeah, no, he came in, and they go, yo, she plays Minecraft, and he looks wide-eyed, he's excited, jaw dropping to the floor, and he goes, "What?" Like, he's shouting it, and I was like, okay, let's quiet down. I'm like, I'm just like, oh no, Baymax, oh no. It's just right there, and he's like, and then one of the kids comes up to me and goes, "Do you play Call of Duty?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I I had a COD game downloaded, but I didn't play COD. All of a sudden, I'm interrupted. He goes, she calls it COD. She calls it COD. She's a gamer. She's a gamer. And I'm like, oh, what have I done? Oh no, what have I done? And at this point, I posted onto my Snapchat story about how I just told a bunch of sixth graders that I'm a gainer. And at
I
this
think I
point,
actually saw that story.
yeah. So at this point, I was surrounded at the table. All these kids, they just come surrounding me, flip their PCs open, and are like gaming right in front of me. All I have is an iPhone that is slowly dying on battery percentage. And I'm just like, what do I do here? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to teach her this. I'm very confused.
You know, I bet after that day, all of those kids probably went home and was just like, that has to be the coolest teacher.
That's
She plays
exactly
Minecraft.
what happened because I came back the next day. The next day I came back and I had to sub for art and I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'll see them at art, they'll probably ask me more questions. It's whatever. Well, unfortunately I didn't get the sixth graders. I got the fifth graders, but the fifth graders think I'm just as cool. But basically I was walking to the office to go get my roll call papers and to get my badge to be able to scan the doors so that way if I get locked out I can just get back in by scanning it. And because honestly the school has really upped in security
Yeah.
and like they it's pretty impressive what they've done. And while I was going, they're like, "Oh, Miss Elder," and I'm like, "Oh yes," and they were like, "Are you our sub for the day?" I was like, "No, I think your teacher's actually back today." And I'm like, "Oh, but we want you," and I'm like, I know," I feel bad because like I told them all of this, and they got a free gaming day with me, and I'm just like, I hope to God they don't tell their teacher that I let them play a shooter game in their sixth grade classroom. Their sixth grade English classroom. Shooter game. And I'm just over here with an iPhone watching YouTube videos.
Finished their schoolwork. They did what they were told to do.
That is true. That is true.
They used the rest of their time on whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, but I made a mental note yesterday when I was doing the art class that if they were done with assignments, how I was taught
It's always
by
good to keep them busy anyways.
it is. And how I was taught by the former art teacher who is no longer there, who retired. I was taught by him that even if you don't have any work to do, find something to keep yourself busy. Well, there was a point where seventh grade class had came in. Seventh to eighth grade class came. Hiccup. Seventh to eighth grade class came in, and I found out they all had assigned seats. But one girl kept trying to get up and go sit by a boy, obviously a boy, and bye. And I kept catching this, and I don't know why. I think she was like really interested in him because you know how kids are at that age.
Yeah.
It's a whole entire High School Musical thing for them. Teenage rom-com. So basically what was happening was I was catching her doing that, but I don't know, she tried to be nonchalant with it, but at the same time she was like, oh well, I don't care, you know. And I kept telling her, no, is there a reason you're over here? Do you have an assignment over here? I don't like, there should only be 4 people at a time at a table. And that's whenever I realized a bunch of students actually weren't in their assigned seats, and the movie had ended at this point. They were supposed to be watching a movie, and I was like, well, okay. Well, if you're not in the movie's over, if you're not in your assigned seat, get into your assigned seat. And some of the kids weren't happy about that. They didn't like that. So I said, it doesn't matter, get in your assigned seat, because I don't want to have to hear about it from your teacher. And one of the kids would not get up and move. And this girl needed her seat, which the kid was sitting in. And I didn't like that very much, how he was telling her no, go find a different seat. And she said, no, that's my assigned seat, I have to sit there. So I stood up and said, what are you doing? And he said, nothing. I said, okay, well, you should be doing something instead of nothing. And I said, where's your assigned seat? And he said, well, it's up there, but I don't want to be up there. And I said, I don't care. Get up and sit in your assigned seat. And so he gives me attitude. This kid that I don't even know gives me attitude. He goes, fine, whatever. And he goes and sits in his seat. But he doesn't do anything. This kid doesn't do anything. He just sits there. I'm like, the audacity. I collect to myself. I have to. I'm a teacher. And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, nothing. I'm like, okay. Why don't you free draw? He goes, well, I don't know how to draw. And I'm like, okay, then let me help you. So I go to the computer, which is currently being Chromecasted onto the whiteboard on the wall, the big gigantic whiteboard on the wall, and I start typing in it, drawing faces, and I search through some of the images. Oh, blah. Oh, I had a seizure there for a second. I search through some of the images, and I find a good one where it shows you, where to start, how to start drawing a face, circle, line, crosshairs, draw some eyes, add another line to draw the nose and the mouth, just typical stuff, the stuff I started out with when I was 12. And, but I had a book. I didn't use online. I had a book. I actually have 2 books now. But, I said, okay, draw some faces. And he goes, but I don't want to draw. And I'm like, okay, well, Miss Pierce isn't going to want to hear about that. And he goes, fine. So he sits down and he starts drawing. And oh God, it was so dissatisfying, but it was also satisfying to have like finally, won this unnecessary fight with a kid who just wanted to not do anything in class, who didn't want to participate in class. So, yeah, that's kind of how that 7th grade class went. And I was fortunate enough to have a student, kind of help me out and tell me what was going on, because I guess she kind of figured out I was pretty clueless. It's not hard to catch on, especially when you're an anxiety-riddled adult with crippling depression and you don't know what's going on half the time. Oh, come on, I'm right there. But, oh my God, I also had the 5th grade class. I mentioned that earlier, I think. I had the 5th grade class in art. I didn't have the 6th grade class, but I did sub for the 5th grade class the day previously. And, there's this one kid who always, lashes out. I don't know why. I think he just has some pent-up rage or something. I don't know. Kid needs a punching bag to take out all his rage on. Well, speaking of, off topic for a little bit, there was, it fell. There was a kid, while I had my prep hour, there was a kid, I think he was like a 3rd grader, He was in the bathroom, and I just hear him shouting in the bathroom, "She's stupid, idiot!" And I'm like, oh, I hope that's not one of my students. I sat there in the hallway and waited till they got out to see if it was one of my students, because I was gonna be like, you can't talk like that. I was I was gonna pull them aside, but then I saw that it wasn't one of my students. It was in fact a younger kid. He looked at me with horror. He did not know that I was there. He had no clue. And I just glanced at him and then looked away. I was like, I did not see anything. I'm not gonna lie, I got serial killer vibes from that. Not gonna lie. Pretty sus. I'm very sus.
That is pretty sus.
It's extremely sus. It was suspicious. But yeah, that happened. But yeah, so fifth graders are in the class, right? They're in the class. And I have to give them chalk. Well, here's the thing. During my prep hour, I was getting ready. I was being a good teacher and getting ready in my prep hour, because what is prep hour for? It is for prepping for the next class. And I definitely needed to prep for fifth grade, because if I knew anything about the day previously, fifth graders are unpredictable. They're very
Yeah.
unpredictable. And I have to be extremely ready and prepared for them. So that's what I was doing. Well, I needed chalk, and I could not find the chalk. I was in the classroom. I had everything ready. I had the papers laid out, okay? Everything else was prepared, except for the chalk. So I'm looking around the room. This is a giant room, okay? It's like a giant studio, which is an art class. I would hope it's a studio. And I can't find the chalk. I'm stuck for a whole hour looking for chalk. I finally find some chalk, but it is a very, very limited amount. And I have like 5 tables that I have to space this chalk out on, okay? I have 5 tables. I'm sitting here. I'm standing here. I'm standing at the wall where I found the chalk, just staring at the chalk.
Yeah.
Looking back at the tables, looking at the chalk, back at the tables, back at the chalk. I probably have the derpiest expression on my face right now, like how the Iron Golem looks. That's my expression right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? I have like 5 pieces of chalk in my hand right now, and I have to get ready for like, I don't know, 15 students. I have to get ready for 15 students. What do I do? I'm panicking, okay? Because that's what I do. I have anxiety. I'm panicking. I'm just like, they're gonna be here. And I don't have chalk. I have like 5 measly pieces of chalk. That's not actually how many I had, but you know, it sure felt like it. And so I start planning, you know. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I've been in far worse situations. I can do this. I'm lost. So lost. Oh, I found myself again. So I get all the chalk that I have, which wasn't really 5, but I get all the chalk that I have. I put them in buckets. I have these little, not buckets, these little tiny little square containers. I put them in there. I put them in the middle of the table. And what I should have done was remove the big buckets with crayons and colored pencils in them, because there was this one kid who kept touching them, and I was like, no, no, don't touch, no, no, not for you, none for you, no, no. And I had to be nice, because I think this kid is like, um, oh god, I think he's got a form of autism, to be honest. You know, that's fine. You know, it's normal. Well, it's not normal, but it's normal for this school, I guess I should say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew how to handle it. I was nice. I was gentle with him. I said to him, no, we can't do that. Where's the building? And so basically, where's the building? I'm lost. I'm so lost. So basically, I put the chalk down, and then the students start rushing in. And then I realize I have become very underprepared for this. And um I also realized they needed to be I found the building. They needed to be making pumpkins. They needed to make orange pumpkins.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any orange chalk. There was yellow, but there wasn't orange. And the yellow looked white. And I'm sitting here, and if I was a little cartoon character, I would be sweating bullets right now. I'm not kidding. I would have been tense. So the kids are like, pumpkins are orange. There's no orange here. And I'm realizing I need to take some of these long pieces of chalk and break them and space them out for the rest of the class. So I do that. And I tell everyone, you guys need to share. And I also tell them there's a very limited amount of chalk. I had to sadly admit that to them. As much as I didn't want to, I kind of had to. Because in my mind, I thought, after 5th grade comes 6th grade. So I need them to, spare a little bit of chalk for the 6th graders. Well, fortunately for me, that did not happen. And I didn't have to have any more pressure on me than I already had.
Yeah.
So the 5th graders are like, oh, we have to be gentle. Because here's what they're doing. These 5th graders are, oh my god, you should have heard it. It was like a battle going on. Like a whole entire battle simulation going on. These 5th graders are taking this chalk and they're just banging it onto the table on their charcoal papers. And I'm sitting here cowering under my desk because I don't know if it's sword fighting or chalk. I have no clue. I just don't want to die.
Yeah.
You never want to give 5th graders chalk. They don't know how to use it responsibly. And me being an artist, I'm crying because I can physically feel the pain this chalk is going through. And it hurts me to see it. And it's pastel chalk too, one of my favorites, and I'm over here crying because how dare they? And
Yeah.
so at one point when I'm handing out the chalk, the the one kid that I've previously had to deal with before, not the kid that, acts out because he can't really help it, but the one kid that acts out because I think he's like needs anger management. That kid. I'm just like handing out chalk and all of a sudden I just hear just the screeching sound of give it to me. I want it. And I just feel the square container with the chalk get yanked out of my hand. Now, I'm not looking. I'm looking away because I'm like talking. I'm looking at the classroom and talking to another student and telling them to sit down or something like that. I don't remember. I was trying to get the class to calm down. I know that much. I think I said I hear a lot of talking and do your work, something like that. And as soon as I feel the box get ripped by my very fingers, I whipped my head around and I death stared this child and I said, I know you did not just do that. And he looks at me, fear in his eyes, and he goes, I didn't. And I'm like, I know for a fact you did not. And he was like, no, he did it. He starts pointing at the kid. But the thing is, the fact that he's yelling at me the way he is, the way I heard it, I knew it was him. And I was like, uh-huh. And I was like, you know what I think? And I was like, I think, I don't, I don't really care if it was you or not. The point is, someone here, sitting at this table, yanked something out of my hand while, and I told him, if it happens again, you're getting written up. You're all getting written up. And you're all going to be put in timeout. And then he, like, kind of, sat back in his chair. And he goes, well, I'm not going to do my art project anymore then. And I said, oh, really? Well, I think Miss Pierce would love to hear about that when I write you up. And then he sighs. And he sits up and he grabs a piece of chalk. And he, pouting in a way, he huffs and he does his artwork. And I was like, aha, okay. So, moving on. A lot of the kids are doing their artwork. They come up to me. They're like, I'm done. And I'm like, well, did you shade it? And he said, no, I don't know how to. And I was like, you take your finger and you rub the chalk. And he goes, oh. And I was like, you did what? Okay. It's like, you didn't know that. Okay. So, this kid comes back to me multiple times. He goes, I'm done. And I can see. He's a 6th grader or 5th grader. He doesn't completely understand the principles of smudging art. And not only that, but his pumpkin looks like a squashed raindrop. But I can't say that because he's a kid and, artistic. Not only that, but a lot of the kids were complaining that their pumpkins weren't going to be orange. So I get up. And this is where the philosopher inside of me comes out. I had never been more proud of myself with improv than in this moment. This was my time to shine. Okay, this was my time to shine, and no one will take this from me. I got up, I look around the classroom. I noticed that some of the flower decor that's on the wall, the flowers are not actually the colors they're supposed to be. Flowers are usually colors like red, pink, blue, purple, gray, I don't know, magenta. This one was green. It was a green flower. And it wasn't a clover. It was a hibiscus. And hibiscus are red or pink. And I looked at that hibiscus and I proudly stood there with confidence because I knew what I was going to say. And I said, I tripped over my words, actually, the first time I said anything. I'm not going to lie. I jumbled up my words as they came out of my mouth. And the kids sit there and they go, what? I'm just like, oh. My mouth failed me. Okay. That's how we do this, I guess. So, I'm sitting there trying to not make it obvious that I just tripped over my own mouth. As if nothing happened, I go, do you see this flower up here? And they're like, yes. And I was like, do you see this flower up here? And they go, yes. I was like, one of these flowers is not the color that it's supposed to be. And they're like, what? And I was like, it's called a hibiscus. And it's this green one right here. But hibiscus aren't actually green. They're pink or red. And I said, but it doesn't matter what color the flower is, as long as you know what the shape of it is, and as long as you know what it is from its shape. I said, your pumpkins don't have to be orange. They can be whatever color you want them to be, as long as the general idea has been gotten across. But the thing is, I didn't want to tell them that I couldn't locate the chalk. That's the real thing. That was the real jazz of it. I could not bring myself to tell these 10-year-olds that I didn't know where the chalk was. I wanted them to think that I was a very capable adult and I was doing good. And then I wrote down in the notes for, their teacher, I wrote down, I hate this. I wrote down, could not locate the chalk. Some of the pumpkins might not be orange, they might be green.
Yeah.
I wrote that down in the notes for the art teacher. And the worst part is today, this was yesterday, today, I drove past the school and I saw the sign for the school and it said, no school. The 16th. Today is the 16th. So I don't know if or when she'll get my note, but I do know she's gonna be one very confused teacher when she gets into her art class.
She'll probably get a good laugh out of that.
She will. She knows who I am, too, because she helped me out when I was in high school with some art projects. So, that was my adventure in the art class yesterday.
It sounds eventful.
It, it was. It really was. Whee! There was also, the fact that after the 7th grade class left, I had my last hour class after them. And, I think this was, like, high school. Yeah, this is high school class. And I still had the picture of the faces on it. And I asked them, hey, she didn't write down what time you guys were on the movie. And they go, oh, we finished it. I said, you finished it? They were like, yeah, we finished it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess, do you guys have any work you need to be doing then? And they were like, no. I said, okay, well, if you don't have anything to do, I looked at the board, I was like, just draw some faces. Like, at this point, I was done. I was just done with the day. And one of the kids who's a boy, he's like, a junior. He's a junior. And, he looks like one of those TikTok stars with the weird early 2000s hair. He looks like one of them. And he sits there and goes, nah, I don't think I will. I look at him, confused, squinting my eyes, and I'm just like, what? Come again? And he goes, I don't really like this class. And I'm just like, how do I can't get mad at the honesty. I couldn't. And I was like, then why are you here? And he goes, I need the credits. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I need this class to be able to graduate this year. And I was like, didn't you just say you're a junior? And he goes, yeah, but if I do all my classes this year, I'll have enough to graduate. And I'm like, at 16? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, draw some faces. And he goes, I'm not drawing faces. I'm like, you're gonna draw faces. And he goes, I don't want to. And I'm like, then I'm gonna write you up. And he goes, okay. I was flabbergasted. This kid had the audacity, the sheer audacity to call my bluff. And I didn't know what to do about it. I was not prepared for this in any way, shape, or form. I was very stuck. But as soon as I finally came up with something and said it to him, and then he said something back to me, and I said something smart to him, and at that point, he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll do my assignment. But when I won, oh, I got juked so hard. The intercom came on, and it said, anyone part of Miss Arrington's class who was selling donuts, please come and meet Miss Arrington at the new gym. And he turned and looked at me with a smile on his face, and I said, "No." Quietly said no. I stared in horror at this kid. Okay, I stared in horror at this 16-year-old kid because I knew what had just happened, and so did he. That's why he was smiling at me, and he said, "Bye." And he left. I was left with one other student because him and the other student left. And she starts giggling. And I looked at her and I said, "I just got juked." It's like, I just got juked by a 16-year-old. And she's just laughing. She was like, "I wouldn't worry too much about him." I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I got juked by a high schooler." I had to process this. I had to I had to process the fact that this just happened. And what's worse is as the intercom went off, I was like, imagine if they called for the students that are exactly in my class and it happened. So not only did I get juked, but I jinxed myself. There was two things that had happened. I got juked and jinxed. Oh my god. The irony just stung so hard. Like, I felt it in my soul. But, in the end, I don't remember what her name was, but I do remember that but she had,
Yeah.
like, really curly hair. And
Yeah.
we had a really pleasant conversation, to be honest. She asked me why I got into substitute teaching, and I let her know. And, she asked me if I wanted to make teaching my career, and I told her I thought about it. And then he came back, and as he came back, he got up to his antics again. But this time, he went over to the computer, and he just starts scrolling through all the art faces, like, all the face examples. And then he's like, I'm like, "What are you doing? Why are you scrolling?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm looking for something." And I was like, "Oh, yeah? What are you looking for?" And he goes, "None of your business." That's what I'm looking for. I was like, "Oh yeah? Well, you should show me none of your business." And he goes, "Okay." I thought he was gonna look up an art project that said none of your business, but no, he looked up the definition of none of your business. I was like, this smart ass kid. I was like, how dare he disrespect his elders? And so he looks it up and he starts reading it off, and I'm like, "No, no, 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 I'm not listening." Like freaking middle school, la la la. I don't want to hear it. All that jazz. And he's like, "Now mind your business and let me do me." And I was like, I didn't really have anything to say about it. I was like, "Touche." And he stops and he goes, "Ooh, cow." And he's looking at the blank face of a cow. Which is, it teaches you how to draw a cow head, basically. And he's looking at that. He's so interested in the cow. The blank cow face. And then they got called out.
I see.
Gosh. It was just a train wreck of a day, but it was absolutely hilarious.
It sounds pretty funny.
It was funny. I remember when I subbed for Omaha, I was like, it was a very normal class, very normal day. Everything was fine. Everything was great. And then it gets close to the end of the day, and all of a sudden, they're wheeling in a Walmart cart into a classroom. And they're like, "Oh, she's not here today. I think this is Miss Perry's." And I'm like, "What?" It's like, I looked at the lady. I was so confused. I was like, that's a Walmart cart. That goes to Walmart." And she goes, "Yeah, she we don't know why she does these things." what? What type of teacher am I subbing for? Why does she have a Walmart cart? I have like, all of a sudden I have like 20 questions that need to be answered at this point, and the lady that has the answers is not here. You know, I'm just like, it's a Walmart cart. That is a Walmart cart. I'm just staring at this cart for like 10 minutes because I'm having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that I am subbing for a woman who I don't know goes to Walmart, all sketchy in the parking lots, probably goes there while they're closed, I don't know, kidnaps a cart, you know, and just takes it to the school to keep it there. Who knows why? I don't really think I want to know why. I don't think I'm gonna ask questions about it, to be honest. I've already done my fair share of trying to figure it out, and I've come to the conclusion that I don't think I want to know. I don't think I don't think it's a good idea for me to know. And I'm pretty sure she would agree. I'm pretty sure if I had ever asked, she would have been like, don't worry about it. If I kept asking, I would have been like brought to like a back closet with a dim light, tied to a chair, waking up tied to a chair, and she just comes up with a knife, whispers in my ear, I told you don't worry about it. That's the end for me. So, I'm good. I don't want to know what happened to me if I did worry about it. Oh my gosh, one of my first 3 days of subbing. Oh my god, this is probably the funniest one. And it honestly it is. It's the most hilarious one. So, I was subbing for special ed.
Yeah.
And, oh my god. Where to start with this one? So, it gets to like, nothing much happened during, throughout the day. But on one particular day, it gets to like 7th hour, I believe. 7th hour?
Yeah.
And, there's this one girl that comes in. You can tell she's friends with one of the girls there. And I'm just sitting at the desk of the teacher who's not there. And I've been there for like the last 2 days. And this was on the first day. And this girl, Mr. Milligan gets up. He's my neighbor. So Milligan gets up and he like walks out of the classroom. And this girl who's like sitting directly across from me at a round table, and then her friend who's sitting directly behind me, literally in a corner directly behind me. Like I could literally like reach out and touch her chair. That's how far behind me she is. Mr. Milligan gets up and leaves the classroom, and the girl across from me at the round table jumps up from her seat. Like, I hear the clattering of the chair, everything. I'm like, what is going on? Is there something wrong? I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe that coffee that she was drinking or that energy drink that she was drinking just hit her and she needed to get up and go now. No, that's not what it was. She got up to peer over and make sure Mr. Milligan was gone. And then she looks at her friend. She has her middle finger extended and ready. And my eyes, it's like a slow-mo motion moment. My eyes are going wide as I'm watching this take place on her hand. And I'm like, my mouth is opening like slow motion moment. And I'm about to put my hand up to my mouth like, oh my god, it's happening. It's happening. And she's getting ready to put her hand up in an aggressive way and flip off her friend until she looks over at me. And at this point, I'm getting ready to turn around like I did not see anything. But by the time I had put my hand on the desk, she looked over and she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot you're a teacher. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's fine. I'm just traumatized at this point. I don't know what's going on. I can't be mad at the fact that this just happened. I
Yeah.
just felt so tiny in that moment. And what's worse is I was trying so hard not to laugh. So I was like, it's fine, it's fine, everything's fine, you're good. She's like profusely apologizing. She completely forgot that I was a teacher. And Mr. Milligan comes in and he starts looking at us and he goes, you could tell like we were acting normal, and he could tell something happened. He looks at me. He goes, "What's going on here?" I'm like, nothing. You just had to be there. That's what I told him. I was like, because the kids looked at me in horror because they thought I was gonna, sell them out. But the thing is, I couldn't. I physically couldn't. How do you, like, literally, what do you do about that? So I was just like, yeah, you had to be there.
Oh, I see.
I became the coolest sub to almost every student at this school.
That's really cool, though. All the students like you.
Yeah, it is. My first day, I pronounced every student's name wrong in every single hour of every single class that I had. So that went for me. I had to keep the
Believe it or not,
straightest face. Could you
believe it
not?
or not, I had a lot of people mispronounce my first name, like subbing for me in classes.
You'd think it would be the last name.
Yeah, you would think it'd be the last name. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of people do get it wrong, but for some reason, I had a lot of subs that would get specifically my first name wrong.
How do you get the name Anthony wrong?
I have no idea.
It's literally Aunt Tony.
Yeah, but then they would read it out. They would be like, Anthony?
Aunt Tony?
No, like, what are you doing?
Why is this person just staring at me? Bye. Have a good day. Bye. Have a good night. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They'll never know. How would they know? Are they still here?
Am I still here?
No, they're not here. They just came.
Oh.
There was someone like right in front of me whenever I looked back at my my screen. It kind of scared me. I'm looking for mailboxes. But yeah, on my first day, I tried to be very casual, I tried to be very professional and everything, but I kept saying like, oh my god, one of the worst ones, this girl's name was Savannah. I didn't just pronounce the first half wrong, I pronounced the middle half wrong, and I go, Sinava? Savannah? And the whole class just busts out laughing at me. And I'm like, I feel so tiny. I'm feeling a little bug. Just being laughed at. And I'm just like, they're like, it's Savannah. And all I have to say is, why is there an E? Like, literally, her name was spelt with an E in it. It wasn't Savannah, it was Savannah. And I'm just like, why? In what world? And then I realized we speak English and our language is very broken and there's really not much we can do to help that other than the fact that, it is what it is. What's worse is half these kids' last names are like Polish or German or I don't know, Norwegian, and I'm over here like, what is that? These kids would look at me all concerned, and I'm like, gosh dang it. And then they'd start laughing at me because they can hear me whisper, gosh dang it, or I hate this, or why? Literally, why? I'm saying all of this. My pain, the fact that I can't physically read their names because nothing in the English language has prepared me for foreign last names of American children. Other than Rogers. Because there's a lot of Rogers here where I live. And I was so glad for those.
I've actually never met a Roger.
Oh my god. You come down here, everyone and their first cousin and their second cousin and their cousin twice removed, and their grandparents and then their grandchildren, their last names are Rogers. For their third cousins come over and their last name is Rogers. Everyone in this town is Rogers. And if they're not a Rogers, they're oh my god, what's the other one? Oh jeez. What is it? Oh yeah, if they're not a Rogers, they're a Wagner. And if they're not a Wagner, they're a Campbell. Campbell. Something like that. I don't know. They're a soup. And if they're not that, they're a breedlove.
I see.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of names that I could never pronounce in a million years here.
I'm telling you, it's that European blood. It runs strong in the last names. And I'm just over here like, what is this? Meanwhile, mine is just old people. Or that's what people think. Until they look up the translation of it. Last time I checked, it was something really sinister. But I tried looking for it again and I couldn't find it. Which is funny because when I looked it up, okay, so ironically enough, when I looked it up, I was in high school. And back then, I knew how to use computers and search stuff up. Now that I'm in my 20s, it feels like my brain is like, I don't know how to do this anymore. I just kind of took that part of the brain and deleted it. And I'm just like, well, that's just great. I needed that. Like an Inside Out. Where those people... Or not the people, were those, oh my gosh. I guess people. Where, Joy runs into these certain characters that are working, like, in, I guess the graveyard of the memory bank. And, they have to, like, recycle or take care of memories that are, like, long lost. And they're like, yeah, we occasionally send this memory up. So that way, just to annoy everyone up there, you get this song stuck in, I don't know what her name is, Riley's head, and they send it up again, and she starts humming the song, and everyone else up top is like, oh god, turn it off! Yeah, that's kind of how it's like for me, but reversed.
I see.
Yeah. It's not fun. Not fun, especially because I have goldfish brain and it just affects me every day of my life. It's fine. It's just every day. The moment I wake up. I love the moments where I walk into a room and I'm like, I have like the full intention of getting something like, say, like a strawberry from the fridge. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get a strawberry from the fridge. And then like the moment I walk into the kitchen, I'm just like, wait, what was I doing? And then I just look around. Clueless. I'm like, what? Why am I in here? I know there was a reason. There was a reason, but I don't know. So I'm just going on, like, I'm just searching around for answers. A picture, a shape, something, anything. Just tell me, like, oh, that's what it was, you know? In some cases, I will never remember. Never know, never remember. It's just completely gone, deleted from my brain. But 80% of cases, it's like, oh, yes, the thing. sometimes my parents will be like, I'll be in a room with my parents, and I'll walk into a room, and I'll go in there because I was going in there for something, and then I'll forget, and then one of my parents will walk in and they'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll look at them, confused, like a confused lost child looking for their parent in a grocery store, and I'm just like, I don't I don't remember. And they're just like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't I don't know. I had a reason, but I don't know what it was. And they're just morbidly concerned, and I'm morbidly concerned, and no one can figure out what's going on, and no one knows where this pack of ranch came from that I'm holding in my hand mysteriously.
Yeah.
Why do I have the ranch? But what was I gonna do with the ranch? Nobody knows! It's my life in a nutshell.
It reminds me of literally every time that I'm supposed to say something to someone, and I'll sit there and rehearse it.
Oh god, those are the worst ones!
I'll sit there and rehearse it over and over before I actually get to go and say it to them. And then it comes a time where I go say it to them, and I just completely blank out. I just completely blank out. Every single word comes out incorrectly. And it's the worst thing ever.
I can only imagine the gibberish. just like your friends are staring at you. Are you having a heart attack? And you're just over here, one eyelid blinking and then the next eyelid blinking the second after. While you're like, right there. They're just like concerned, scared, like what is going on here? They don't know whether to call the ambulance or just let you be. You're just like computing everything that's going on.
I remember when I got my very first job, like when I was 18-ish. No, younger than that. When I was like 16 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
I had to talk to, like, my manager's boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my manager is just like, alright, this is what I want you to say to him. Say this. And then he, like, has me repeat after him and say what,
Oh no.
And then I go up to the office where I'm supposed to talk to this guy. And I rehearse it right before going in there. I'm just like, yep, alright, I'm gonna say this. It's no problem. Alright. And I walk in there, and I'm just like, speaking gibberish to him. And he's just looking at me. No words were spoken for like 10 seconds. We're just looking at each other. And
He's probably looking at the other guy like, did you hire this man? And the other guy's like, I don't know him. I don't know who he is.
I was just like sitting there looking at him. I had no idea what I could say to save the situation. And he was just like, what? And I'm like, it took me a couple of tries to finally get it out. I think he caught on that I was like just really bad at talking to people, but like it was so like embarrassing nonetheless.
God. No, I've had a bunch of moments where like I'll be speaking and then my brain's like, quick, you don't know what you're saying, and I'm just like saying like sit down in your chairs. I go sit down in your mares, and the students are like, what? And I'm like, you heard me. Sit down in your chairs. Like, literally looking at me all confused, like, no. No, we did not. I'm just playing it off as casually as possible. Like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm not totally failing at the English language at all. Whatsoever. It's not what's going on here. Oh my god, I'm lagging super hard.
I was gonna say,
Ooh.
it's just about time that I should be going to bed.
Oh yeah?
I'm starting to get tired.
Alrighty.
You're supposed to wake up early.
Yeah, I streamed for about an hour, so I think after this round of block drop, I'm gonna get off too. My voice is kind of hurting from talking as well.
I mean, that was a really good stream.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think you've been getting better at streaming, actually.
I don't know. I hope so, though.
Yeah.
I'd like to be.
And I
It's
also
really...
think you're getting better at talking and telling stories and stuff like
Well,
that.
I think it's because mostly because I have stories to tell now, and I have someone to talk to about them. Ooh, a power up. I don't know what it does, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use it. I'm also the only one up here besides one other person, so there's that going for me.
I see.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, there's literally 4 people left. What happened? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm on the 2nd floor. But yeah, I think it's because, like, since work actually started for me, because I have been registered as a substitute teacher for a while now. I think it's the fact that work has actually started for me, and I'm finally able to have something to talk about. And it's nice because I've wanted to have something new to talk about lately. Like, at Dollar General, not much was going on there. I'm not gonna lie. There was not a lot going on there. And not only that, but they literally had me come in as my son was literally throwing up. My son was sick and throwing up. And I was sick, too. Because my son got me sick. And they were like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, I could have COVID and you guys still want me to come in. And, you know, they've said, like, as long as you're not contagious, you can come in. But the thing is, someone came up to me and said, yeah, I had COVID and they had me come in as well. And I was like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not what, no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. Woo! I survived. I was on a layer that they just kind of removed, and I fell through another layer onto another layer, so I will survive. I will survive. I really don't want to die. Energy drink. Ooh, I'm gonna save that. Ooh. Boink, good boink, good boink. Beep. I have another power up. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Okay.
The cat is meowing. Let's see what he wants.
Have you tried punting him across the room? Don't do that. Don't actually do that. Don't actually do that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like cats. I don't like that.
Let me see what Mayo wants.
Okay.
1 sec.
Woo. No! Ah! Yep. Alright. I'm